we talked about we had a discussion over ideal operating characteristics curve, which is represented by this black thick line, and we have seen the practical operating characteristics curve, which are based on Poisson distribution, and these are represented by these thin black dotted lines. And we have noticed that in case of this curve, the curve has which is not very steep in nature, which is very flat. In this case, our small n, that means the sample size was small, it was 100. But as the curve becomes steeper, the sample size also gets larger. That we have seen. And you can see this picture also, you can see different operating characteristics curve are represented in this picture. And here you will see that the lot size is same for all the curves, but small n, that means sample size, is different. This is very steep in nature, so the small n is equal to 200. This is moderately steeper, that is why it is small n is equal to 100. And this curve, it will have small n is equal to 50. Okay, so we can understand that as the curve becomes steeper, the sample size gets larger. So now today we will discuss on this is the actually the characteristics of Poisson distribution or operating characteristics curve. So now we will focus on producer's risk, consumer's risk, and AOQ, acceptable quality level, AQL, acceptable quality uh, limit, and also LTPD, which is known as lot tolerance percent defective. So let's start. Due to sampling variation, it is always possible that a bad lot can be accepted and a good lot be rejected. Okay. It is a producer's risk that a good lot be rejected by the consumer. For example, suppose you just think that you have 10,000 items in a lot. Okay. Now, suppose your sample size is 10. So, in the lot, in the entire lot of 10,000 items, suppose there are only 10 units which are defective. Now, your cutoff acceptance number is suppose 5, and you are testing 10 samples, or suppose 100 unit samples, you are testing 100 samples. Okay, so it may so happen that out of those 100 items, you have found that 7 items are defective. Okay, so that is very small. Okay, that is very small. You have very small amount of mm, uh, out of 10,000 items, there are very small amount of defects. There are only 7 defective items are there actually in lot. So the lot is basically a good lot. But you have collected the sample in such a way by chance that you have found that your defective items in that particular sample that is greater than your acceptance number. So what will happen? You will actually reject the lot. So a good lot will be rejected. Okay. So this is known as producer's risk, because suppose you are a producer or you are a manufacturer. Now you have made a good lot, but due to the sample variation, the customer has rejected the lot. So this is known as producer's risk. Okay. So similarly, as a producer, you may produce some bad lots. Suppose out of 10,000 items, there are 700 items you have produced which are defectives. So obviously, your lot is a bad lot. Lot is not a good lot. But it may so happen that due to sample variation, the sampling that is done by the consumer, it has happened that the number of defective items that you have found during the sampling, that is less than the acceptance number. It may happen. Okay, this is very natural. So what will happen? The consumer will accept the lot even if it is actually a bad lot. Okay. So this is known as consumer's risk. Okay. Because the consumer has accepted a bad lot. So why these risks actually occur or actually take place? These risks take place because we very often do not go for the total lot inspection. We go for only sample inspection, and there can be variation in samples. Okay. It is suppose out of 10,000 items, if you randomly select 100 of items, there is no guarantee, and if you do the sampling second time or third time, there is no guarantee that exactly the same 100 items will be picked up by you for the second time or for the third time. There is no such guarantee. So that's why these kind of risks exist in practice. So the producer and consumer, both of them, they want to mitigate the risk. Okay. But it is not possible in practice that these kinds of errors or these kinds of rejection or this kind of wrong identification due to sample variation will not take place. It will take place. Okay. But we can minimize the risk. We can minimize the risk only. Suppose you just think about an aeroplane. Okay. So whenever the technocrats or the scientists or the engineers, they always try to minimize the risk. Okay. But still, after that, accidents occur. Okay. So it is just like the same thing. We try to minimize the risk, but still good lots are rejected as bad lots. or bad lots are accepted as good lots. We can only minimize the risk. So what we do for minimizing the risk, the consumer and the producer negotiate with each other and arrive at two limiting values of proportion defective in a lot. So one limiting value is AQL, which is known as acceptable quality limit, and another limiting value of proportion defective in the lot is known as LTPD, okay, which is known as lot tolerance percent defective. So what is AQL? And from point 0 to here, you can see that this is up to AQL, this is known as acceptable quality region, and from LTPD and to this side, this is known as unacceptable quality region, and in between the region is known as region of indifference. Okay, so what these things are actually represent? AQL means up to this level the defectives will be definitely accepted by the customer or consumer. Okay, and beyond LTPD, in this region it will be definitely rejected by the customers, and in case of the region of indifference, it is called the region of indifference because there is no clear-cut criteria of acceptance or rejection of a lot. Okay, for example, the producer and the consumer, they have decided that our AQL will be 0.03 and our LTPD will be 0.08. What does it mean? It means that if the lot contains up to 3% defectives, that will be definitely accepted by the consumer. But if the lot has, or if the lot contains more than 8% defectives, then it will be definitely rejected by the consumer. This is the meaning of it. Okay, so now we should know that the producer's risk. Okay, what is producer's risk? So you can see here that the producer's risk is actually here it is determined by, if you consider B from AQL, okay, suppose if you consider any probability of acceptance for a particular proportion defective, the probability of the non-acceptance will be termed as the producer's risk. Okay, producer's risk is denoted by alpha. Okay, so if you are asked that in this, for this particular picture, if you are asked that if a lot contains 3% proportion defectives, okay, or 3% defectives, then what will be the risk? What will be producer's risk? So your answer will be that producer's risk will be actually this much. Okay, you should know the coordinate of the point B. Here in this picture, the B point, it is 0.9161. Okay, the coordinate of the B point is 0.03, 0.9161. So if you subtract it from 1 minus 0.9161, this will be your producer's risk. Okay, so producer's risk alpha is given by 1 minus probability of acceptance. Okay, so this is common sense, because the one probability of acceptance deals with that what is the probability of accepting the lot. So if you subtract it from 1, then you will get that what is the probability of rejecting the lot, and that probability is actually known as producer's risk. So this is actually producer's risk. Producer's risk is known as 1 minus alpha. Okay, suppose if you are asked that for this in this particular graph, it is, if you are asked that what is the producer's risk if the lot contains 4% defective, then the answer is you just, this is the point C. Okay, so u1 minus this, the coordinate along the y value of C is 0.7851. So if you subtract it from 1 minus 0.7851, so you will get the value of the producer's risk. So in this way, you need to calculate producer's risk. Now, your question will be, how can we calculate the consumer's risk? Okay, so consumer's risk is denoted by beta, and obviously the probability of acceptance for a corresponding proportion defective, that is known, that will be the consumer's risk, because consumer's risk is stated or determined by the probability of acceptance. I have previously told that producer's risk is actually expressed by the probability of rejecting a lot, but consumer's risk is denoted by the probability of accepting a lot. Okay, so automatically you can see here that in case of consumer's risk, here you can see that suppose if the lot contains, suppose say for example 8% defective, so what will be the consumer's risk? Consumer risk will be this value 0.1912. okay, this y value, it will be your consumer's risk. If you are asked that the lot contains 9% proportion defective, then what is the what about the consumer's risk? Then your answer will be 0.1157. This will be your consumer's risk. Okay, so this is the concept of producer's risk and consumer's risk. Okay, so producer's risk and consumer's risk will actually depend upon the value of the proportion defective. Okay, the value of proportion defective, but it will also depend upon the characteristics of the OC curve. Okay, suppose this is here, this you can see that this is the characteristics of OC curve. Okay, But instead of this curve, if suppose some curve is like this, okay, or some curve like this, okay, lot of different types of curve you can get, okay, different types of operating characteristics curve you can get. I have already shown you that different types of operating characteristics curve you may get. So accordingly, you will have the producer's risk and the consumer's risk that will also be changed depending upon the type of or the nature of the operating characteristics curve. So it basically depends on two things. One is the proportion defective and another is the nature of operating characteristics curve. Okay. Producer's risk and consumer's risk will depend upon these two things. Now the consumer and the producer, what they in practice they do, they negotiate with each other and arrive at two limiting values. Okay, I have already told you. So they not only deal with AQL, but also they deal with some Y value for the AQL. Okay, for the AQL, they have also determined some some Y value for AQL and also some Y value for LTPD. Okay, so this Y value is actually this Y value is actually calculated by the producer's risk for that particular AQL value. And the Y value here, it is also determined by the LTPD value. Okay. So in this picture, you can see that the producer and the consumer, they have mutually agreed upon these 2 points B and E. Okay, these 2 points B and E. How they have decided these points? Suppose the producer and consumer have mutually agreed that okay, AQL we will decide at 3%, LTPD we will decide on 8%, and suppose the consumer's risk we will take at suppose 0.1912, okay, and the producer's risk we will consider as here almost it is 0.1. That means more than 10% risk, okay, the producers will not take. Okay, so in this way, these 2 points are determined. So what I want to say that whenever during the time of acceptance sampling, okay, so they basically they mutually they agree with each other, and they 2 points they actually decide based on their choice. They decide 2 points, and they by varying the values of sample size and acceptance number, so using the trial and error method, they determine that which particular curve for Poisson distribution it will pass through those 2 points. Okay, suppose in this case they have previously earlier they have decided on B and E, these 2 points, that B and E will be those 2 points through which our curve will pass. Okay, so then they go for trial and error method. Okay, trial and error method means the sample size and acceptance number they check. Okay, so what is actually the intention of this? what you are actually doing. See, we are discussing about the acceptance sampling plan. Okay, we are discussing about acceptance sampling plan. So what is acceptance sampling plan? In case of acceptance sampling plan, we have nothing to do here with the capital N or the lot size. We have nothing to do here with the lot size, capital N. We need to choose small n and the value of A or C. Small n means sample size and A means acceptance number or C means cutoff number, both are same. Okay, so we need to find the value of sample size and acceptance number. Okay, so if you, and we are using Poisson distribution for that. Okay, we are using Poisson distribution for that. Have a look at the formula of the Poisson distribution. Okay, here you can look at, this is the formula of the Poisson distribution. Okay, so this is the Poisson function, that means the probability of acceptance. Okay, so what is the Poisson function is given by e to the power minus mu into mu to the power d divided by d dash. Okay, so typically you will ask that how they actually find out this curve. So typically you can understand that here d means actually the number of defectives, but here it is equivalent to the acceptance number. Okay, so typically in case of D, we will put A or C, okay, acceptance number. So suppose you have you have mm, you have decided, both of you have decided that suppose our D value or the suppose my A value is my proportion defective is suppose 0.01 and my my uh, n, small n is equal to 100. Okay, so first you need to calculate the mean value of the distribution. Okay, so this is mu is equal to n into p. Okay, so you are putting n here. Okay, so n means suppose n is 100, so you put here n is equal to 100. So into p, p means proportion defectives in the lot. So suppose it is 0.01, so you put here 0.01. Okay, and suppose your acceptance number is 5, so if you put here 5, you put here 5, so you will find out the value of probability of acceptance, that means the y-axis value you will find. Okay, so try to understand that this is not very complicated. You are thinking that this is very complicated task, but it is not exactly complicated. Okay, you have, when you are in the 12th standard, you have seen that there is one x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay, suppose there is a function which is given by y is equal to x square. Okay, so there is a graph for y is equal to x square. Okay, so y is a function of x, right? Y is a function, for different values of x you will get different values of y. Okay, so suppose y is equal to 2, suppose x is equal to 2, then what you will find, y is equal to 4. Suppose x is equal to 6, then what will be the value of y? Y will be 6 square, 36. And the curve will satisfy this condition. The function related condition, the graph will, the curve will satisfy. So it is just like the same thing. This is the function. This function is Poisson function. And the Poisson function, I have shown you the formula that this is your Poisson function. Okay, So Poisson function, this is y value actually, y-axis value you are going to find. So this is being represented by the x-axis value. Where is the x-axis value? X-axis value means proportion defective. Okay, here is the proportion defective. So you are calculating here in this expression there is mu. So whenever you will be calculating mu, you are calculating n into p. Here in place of mu, you can write n into p. Okay. So p is your proportion defective, which is your x-axis value, right? So the x-axis value you are considering. Apart from that, you are also considering n sample size and your d. That means the acceptance number. Okay. So this function will depend upon three things. One thing is your sample size n. Another thing is your acceptance number, and another thing will be your x-axis value, that means proportion defectives in the lot. Okay, so for all different types of proportion defectives, you can plot the data in the Excel, like 0.01 proportion defective, what value I will get, for 0.02 what value I will get, for 0.03 what value I will get, from 0.04 what value I will get. Okay, and simultaneously you can also change, apart from the proportion defective, you can also change the value of different n, small n value, the sample size value, that you can also change. And also you can change the value of your acceptance number, that also you can change. Okay, so changing all these values, okay, changing all these values, different types of Poisson distribution, Poisson curve or operating characteristics curve you will find. Different types of operating characteristics curve you will find for different trials, for different n value, a value and p value. For different combinations you will have different values you will plot, you will be plotting. Okay, for different the variables n a and n a and p value, you will have different OC curves or different different OC curves or Poisson curves you will find. Okay, so you need to find that particular curve which passes through those 2 points. Okay, those 2 points that you have set. So those 2 points you want, so that particular graph or that particular Poisson distribution should pass through those 2 points. Okay, so ultimately what will happen in that case, this is a kind of verification method. So you will verify that what will be my n value, what will be my a value, and what will be my proportion defectives you have nothing to do, but n value and a value you can choose, or you can find out, or you can verify. Okay, so this is the method, or this is the output of operating characteristics curve. This verification or this type of determination can be done by operating characteristics curve. Okay, so and yes, so but this is also, you need to keep in your mind that you should choose the points in such a way so that and you should select that particular curve, that particular Poisson distribution curve, where your n value is not very big, that also you need to take care of. Okay, because you can easily understand that suppose here n is equal to 100, but instead of 100 value, this value, if you are given the if you select such type of uh, car where the steepness is very high, and n is equal to suppose 1000, okay, so it will be very difficult, because 1000 for each lot you will be inspecting thousands of items. It will be too much, it will be time consuming, and it will be too much money consuming as well. Okay, so that's why you need to optimize all those things. Okay, you need to take care of all those things. So now I am going to end the session. uh, I'm going to stop recording.